astrophysicist Joseph Allen Hynek devised a 6-part classification for UFO sightings. The first 3 classifications refer to witnessing an alien craft in the sky: nocturnal lights, daylight discs, and radar visual confirmations. The last 3 classifications refer to actual contact with the UFO or its passengers. Close encounters of the first kind are visual sightings of flying objects, seemingly less than around 500 feet away, where it is clear enough to make out the definite shape of the craft. Close encounters of the second kind are where a physical effect is alleged. This can be interference with vehicle electronics, animals reacting, any physiological effects such as paralysis, or even scorched earth or destroyed plants and trees. And close encounters of the third kind are actual interactions with an alien being. Sometimes this is against the will of the witness. One man who had a terrifying close encounter of the third kind was Matthew Maeda from Kingston, New Hampshire, USA. Matthew was forcibly abducted from his bedroom while he slept, back in 2012.
I had never previously experienced any sleep disturbances or sleepwalking. A few years ago, that fact changed. Several nights in a row, I had awoken suddenly. Each time, I noticed a slim figure standing over me by the side of the bed. I always sleep with the lights off and my 2 shades completely shut, so it's always quite dark in my room. Only a small amount of moonlight filters through the shades. Every time I saw the being, I would feel completely paralyzed despite being fully awake. It felt as if my mind was weakened, almost as if something was draining my energy. I would also hear a loud humming sound, similar to the sound of a large ventilation system. If I put all my effort into it, I could break the paralysis, and the figure would slowly back out of the moonlight as I did so. I spoke with my doctor about these encounters, and he suggested it might be a condition known as sleep paralysis, which is essentially a dream that feels as if you are completely awake and aware of everything around you, but unable to move. I believed this was a reasonable explanation, so I was no longer concerned about it. The next time it happened, I was on the verge of falling asleep. Instead of fighting it, I just closed my eyes again. Oddly enough, I started feeling very light, almost as if I was falling. It startled me, so I opened my eyes and sat up. However, it was already morning and bright outside. I looked at my phone and it was past 11 a.m. I was confused because I felt as if a few minutes earlier I was trying to fall asleep. I got dressed, went downstairs, and then went along with my day as usual. At some point, I noticed a small bump on my arm, beneath my skin. It is approximately the size of a dime and fairly hard. When I pushed it in a direction, I could see it move slightly under my skin. I also had broken blood vessels on part of my leg. I wasn't overly concerned with these anomalies. I assumed I just hadn't noticed them before. Later that night, I fell asleep without incident. However, I began experiencing vivid dreams. I was strapped to a bench, naked, in a dark room. Directly across from me, also strapped down, was what I identified as a gray extraterrestrial. It appeared to be staring at me, but it was difficult to tell where its eyes were pointed, since it didn't have visible pupils. Other alien beings were standing around me, and I felt needles enter my arm and hand. One of them placed its hand on my chest and just held it there for several minutes, almost as if it was checking my pulse. At the end of the dream, I felt the same falling sensation from before.
That wouldn't be the last time Matthew encountered these beings.
In another dream, I was being transported somewhere. As I was led through a corridor, I noticed a reddish glow coming from each side. There were transparent cylinders or tubes full of liquid. The substance looked like a combination of near liquefied hamburger mixed with a pinkish clear fluid. There were extraterrestrial beings in several of the tubes. I asked what the liquid was for, and I was informed that it was cow used as a food source. I also saw human body parts floating in a couple of the tubes, arms, legs, and fingers. So I did not believe they were being truthful with me. They did not speak English. I heard their voices almost as if it were my own thoughts speaking to me.
These encounters had a permanent effect on Matthew, and the experience still stays with him to this day.
To this day, I still experience anxiety when attempting to fall asleep. Occasionally, I'll have a dream in which I experience another type of encounter. I've done a lot of research, and it led to my current interest in paranormal phenomena. However, part of me still yearns for a day when I can finally forget it ever happened.
The beings that Matthew describes from his encounters can be classified as what is more commonly known as alien greys. Although varying from witness to witness, they all share a common physical description of being humanoid in shape, pale grey or almost white, smooth skin, oval-shaped eyes, often without eyelids and almost in all cases have no visible pupils, but most notably a large bulbous head. But not everyone accepts this as a believable evolutionary development for life forms supposedly not from our own planet Earth. So I asked a few experts on their personal opinion of what, if anything, alien life could be conceived to look like in appearance.
I'm a firm believer it's not possible that in the entire universe there's not at least one planet capable of supporting life, and over however many millions of years that a sentient species wouldn't develop. Now that species might be evolved from dinosaurs, Neanderthals rather than Homo sapiens, or a species that doesn't exist on Earth, but they're going to become capable of spacefaring, whether it's with tentacles, telepathy from their enormous heads, or being adept with their tails to operate the controls.
We are the Pleiadians, and we come from a distant star, here to help upon planet Earth. As you go through a transformation of your ages, nothing is going to stay the same. So many of you are floundering and want to know which direction to go in. And we are here bringing help, bringing joy, bringing love, and bringing energies of a higher frequency, so that you are able to make the transition more smoothly and more easily for yourselves, you see.
We're talking about aliens that are visiting Earth. I think they would probably be more humanoid in appearance. I mean, I don't know the whole science behind evolution, but surely it would work in a similar way to how intelligent life has evolved on Earth. So maybe they would be the classical little green man kind of alien. Whether we'd be able to communicate with them, well, I'm sure it would be a struggle. But if we're talking about aliens on another planet, then I would hope those kind of aliens would be something like, you know, proper monsters, proper aliens like xenomorphs or massive xenomorphs, like dinosaur size. I think that'd be a lot more fun anyway. But as long as they don't visit here.
Some people claim that aliens have already visited here, and the phenomenon known as crop circles is clear evidence of their visit. This encounter of the second kind is when large geometric shapes are formed across grass or in stalks of corn. or more commonly, in fields of wheat. I'm on my way to the Blackmore Vale, near Dorset, where crop circle expert Sean Matthews has reported a recently formed crop circle close to the ancient Iron Age chalk hill 3 miles northeast of Blandford Forum. Odd Hill. Of course, the best angle to view something like this is from directly above. Crop circles are said to be left behind by UFOs. These curious patterns can be varying in shape and design, and originally people theorised that they were the result of landing spacecraft. But once other more intricate patterns started to appear over the decades, experts started to now consider them to be some form of intergalactic message. But what this message is saying, we may never know. The Freedom of Information Act reveals 3 reports from Cheshire County between 2010 and 2011 on official police files, all describing triangular-shaped objects the size of 2 double-decker buses with lights at each corner, travelling slowly across the skies of Cuddington in West Cheshire. In 2010, the Ministry of Defence released a series of documents revealing the sightings in Cuddington, dating as far back as the 1990s. The files contained a wide range of documents, statements, drawings, letters, and even parliamentary questions covering UFO witness reports in Cuddington between the years 1995 and 2003. Most incidents describe small triangular shapes flying in the sky and meeting up with a larger triangle with a tail estimated at around 100 foot long appearing from its rear side. In all cases, the Ministry of Defence confirmed there were no military aircraft in the area at the time of the sighting, and there was no evidence to suggest any foreign breach of airspace. So I decided to venture to Cuddington to see if I myself could have a close encounter of the first kind and hopefully catch a triangle on video. I think we'll sit down over here. Okay, I've actually, hang on. Let's turn the monitor around so I can see what I'm saying. I've actually come about a mile or 2 west of Cuddington. I'm on the border in a place called Oakmere. I thought that'd be better because then I've got a clear view looking east over the skies that are actually above the village. In theory that gives me a best vantage point of potential flying triangles. In theory. Yeah, so we're looking east now, and just in front of those trees in the distance is the village of Cuddington, where all the triangle sightings have been over the years. And if you carry on in the same direction for about 7 miles, you come to the next town along, which is Northwich, which is the centre of Cheshire. So what we do now is just sit patiently and look at the sky, hoping that we see something anomalous. I've chosen an especially clear day. There's not a cloud in sight, so nothing to obscure the view. I don't exactly know what I'm looking for though. And there's always the chance that if there is anything up there, it's out of the spectral range of my vision. So it could show up on the camera, but not to the naked eye. That's happened before. If you look just to my right, that's looking south toward the town of Crewe. That's about 20 miles in that direction. In 2013, in August, there was a young 16-year-old boy who took a photograph on his way to the mosque. And when he developed the photographs afterwards and looked at them on his computer, he noticed that there was a strange octagonal craft in the sky that looks sort of semi-translucent, like it's cloaked almost. But he didn't notice it at the time. It wasn't until he looked at the photographs afterwards, and that was only 20 miles in that direction. So, it seems that I'm in the centre of all activity. As I say, I don't quite know what I expect to find up here, if I find anything at all. But I've only been here a few minutes, and already I'm rather stir-crazy. I really do get a sense of respect now for those ufologists and enthusiasts that spend hours upon hours. They even spend all night sat on mountaintops with binoculars and torches watching the skies. I've been here for 5 minutes. And already I'm thinking, come on, I want to see something. Just to give you another idea of my bearings, if you look behind me, that's looking west. About 12 miles away is the city of Chester. Just to give you an idea of where I am on a map. There's nothing up there at all. I can't even see any planes. If there are any planes, they must be really high up. Looking back at the skies above Cuddington again now in the hopes that we find something. As I keep saying, I've no idea what I'm looking for, but nobody ever does. Most of these photographs and videos that you see of these flying triangles are by people that aren't actually looking for them. They're just out about doing their normal day-to-day routine, and they see them. They never hear them. In all the reports I've read, there's never been any reported sounds. The engines are silent. And the speed can be varying. Sometimes people say they move very, very slow and they just drift across the sky. Sometimes people say they move really fast, lightning speed. There's lots of unusual wildlife sounds though. Every so often I hear the call of a bird of prey in the sky, but what? In the grass around me I'm hearing, I hope that's a cricket and not a grass snake or an adder. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. I hope I'm okay sat here. Yeah, I'm sure I'm fine. Nobody's ever been killed by a grass snake or an adder, have they? Thought we'd walk a bit further up. Walking further north, still looking over the skies of Cuddington there to the east. But just incidentally, just in front of us, if you look north, is the town of Runcorn, which is on the River Mersey. And that is the location of Europe's first ever reported UFO sighting. There was a guy called James Cook, and it was September 1957, he was on Runcorn Hill, and he saw aliens. And also, it goes down as the first alien abduction in the UK, because they took him on his ship, apparently, and took him to their home planet, which was a place called Zomdick. So take from that what you will. But looking in the same direction, just a tiny bit over that way, is the town of Warrington. That's about 60 miles in that direction. That's my hometown, incidentally. There's been a few reports there recently with people seeing spherical silver objects chasing planes and spinning in South Warrington. There was 3 points of light and a triangle over West Warrington that flew at lightning speed. Those were all in recent years. That's 16 miles in that direction, which isn't far from Cuddington. So who knows what I might see today, if I see anything at all. It's certainly hot. I'm gonna sit down for a bit over here, try and cool off. The thing is, I can't see anything. I can't even see any planes. If there are any commercial or private aircraft up there, then they're either so high up that you can't see them, or I don't know. I did look at a list of flight plans before I came out, just in case. I thought I saw something, but then it turned out to just be a plane to Malaga. It's pointless because there were so many, and they change. They don't change, but there was just so many, and every few minutes there's a new one. So it didn't seem worth it. But if I do see anything, I'll make a note of what time I've seen it, and I'll go back and double check. I should have brought some drinks with me, shouldn't I? Make it go a little quicker. It's not that bad actually, I'm not moaning, it's a lovely day. It's a lovely day to be sat in the middle of the Cheshire countryside. I just wish that I saw a UFO. As disappointing as it is, I do believe that's a small plane. Ah well. I'm regretful to say that I've decided to call it a day. I don't know exactly what I expected to see. I don't think anyone ever does expect to see anything. They hope to see things, but you know, we don't control what happens in the future. It would have been nice to have seen something to round off, have my own close encounter of the first kind, but very few people do, and those that do are, I was going to say fortunate, but you know, not everyone's encounter is enjoyable. Anyway, I'm signing off now, and it would have been nice to have witnessed a UFO firsthand for myself, but I'll just have to be happy with all the witness reports I've read and researched, which are fascinating. And the thing is, there's too much consistency and similarities between all the different unrelated encounters, some of them happening at the same time in the same town by completely unrelated people. There's too much coincidence for it to be a hoax or a lie, so my mind is staying open. You never know what'll happen tomorrow, eh? The acronym UFO was coined by Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, who headed Project Blue Book, which at the time was the US Air Force's official investigation program for unidentifiable aerial sightings. Captain Ruppelt concluded that the term flying saucer was misleading when applied to objects that weren't saucer-shaped. For this very reason, the military prefers the more general name, unidentified flying objects. Other officially used phrases that predate the UFO acronym include flying flapjack, unexplained flying disc, and unidentifiable object. Because of public and media ridicule associated with the topic, some ufologists and investigators prefer to use terms such as UAP, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, or AAV, which stands for Anomalous Aerial Vehicle, or even UAS, Unidentified Aerial System. But whatever you prefer to call them, it is evident that there is something above our skies that defies explanation. And someday you too could be witness to a UAP, if you delve deep enough into the unknown.